Yo, to continue our series, we're going to be talking about Meowscarada today. A unique little grass dark type, kind of the light urshifu thanks to his signature move, Flower Trick. And it's this access to like knock off, Sucker Punch, making it very similar to urshifu, and also having the access to the ability Protean. Though unfortunately for it, Protean did ultimately get nerfed, so its playstyle is a little bit hampered. But we will get right into the talking about these sets right now. So I have a few basic concepts with this Pokemon, because of course this Pokemon is very simplistic in how it kind of runs. The general idea is you don't really necessarily need the speed. Base 175 does like most of what you would want it to do when it comes to the speed in general, but just to give you an idea, you will no longer outspeed like Roaring Moon and Salazzles and stuff, but like those Pokemon aren't really common in the first place. It's just when you get to here is where you're still gonna not outspeed like Mousehole at 179, so you're going to like 110, 100 plus. So all these like base 100 Pokemon, Palmot for example, you're still gonna be outspeeding a Palmot. So it's like, it's just not as like necessary to go this full speed, because like you're still outspeeding that base 115, base 105. Well, missing on like Mousehole isn't too big of a deal, I would say. But you can go Jolly if you want. But I think like, because of the thing about like Meowscarada to urshifu, it is faster than urshifu, but that's actually, the speed isn't really worth it when you consider that you have like such a less amount of damage, right? Because urshifu with the base 130 attack with Adamant, and so you could always go like Adamant on urshifu as well, because like, let's be honest, you're this Quick and Wicked Blow with anyways, you get to 200 and you get to only 178 with Meowscarada, making Meowscarada in a way a bit of a worse urshifu, though that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's not particularly the best. Like you see Wicked Blow 75, Flower Trick 70, so it's worse in a lot of like cases. Though of course like Flower Trick can never miss, but there aren't really evasion boosting strategies that are very prevalent in the meta in the first place, so this is also not the biggest deal. Though notably, you just have like Flower Trick, you still have access to like knock off, you have access to Sucker Punch, Protect, and I think this is like kind of the standard set you want to use for it. Because Meowscarada does have like one benefit in this meta, it's that it's an offensive grass type for like physicals, and there's not really many grass types that can be offensive in the way that Meowscarada can. You can see like there's Brute Bonnet at 127, but that's so slow. There's Breloom, it's also very slow at 130. And it's just not really comparable to the same kind of output when you get to it, down to it. Like Leafeon doesn't really have the same speed. Bramble Gas is where you get a little closer to like Meowscarada, but it's like also a bit weaker, thanks to the access to like Flower Trick and the guaranteed crits. And also another important thing is you get Flower Trick helps you deal with stuff like Dondozo, where it's going to use that +2 defense, bulk up, and you get a crit through that, and you also get a crit through Garganacl as well, which is pretty helpful since this has been going around with like Iron Defense, and you force them to have to like terrasilize into grass, so you can have something else to cover for that as well. And that makes Flower Trick like generally pretty useful. This is the guaranteed crits, get you through that, and you can also just knock off items, and knockoffs generally that's always a pretty powerful move. And then we go on to the other options. Like I have to highlight Protean. Protean kind of got gutted this generation for the context of doubles, because you can only use it on like the first move you use with the Pokemon when you switch it in, right? So if you switch in Meowscarada, you click Play Rough. If you click Flower Trick next, it's not going to do as much damage. So it's just not a good ability anymore, and you almost always just want Overgrow instead. Well, I think like Choice Band or like Choice Scarf is like the one set you can kind of run it, where you can just like U-turn out and you just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to U-turn anyways. So I really don't think that's like a very effective use case. But yeah, it can be like Choice Scarf, Choice Band, Scarf U-turn, you can Scarf Play Rough, maybe hit a Roaring Moon or something, and just like go from there. And other items you can have like Life Orb as well to give you a bit of a damage boost, and you can like Flower Trick, Sucker Punch, and you can run like Substitute. And take advantage of that speed stat to like really just give you there's a bit of extra longevity through sub and maybe like cheese someone through like the flower trick damage. Because I think like Life Orb is pretty nice as well, because honestly this Pokemon lacks as much damage as you would think. Like even the Dondozo example, if you're the Sash Adamant, you are not going to KO Dondozo, because all these Pokemon have like really absurdly high defense stats. And there's also this, even the Pokemon that you would want to counter aren't necessarily getting KO'd unless you have an item like Life Orb. And that's what makes like Life Orb sub is also this good. You get the sub, wait a turn, wait a bit, flower trick. Of course you're still gonna have trouble with faster Pokemon like Flutter Mane, Iron Bundle. But that's where you have to like really focus on like team construction around. And this is a little other options for the Sash set. Let's say you don't want Knockoff or you don't want Sucker Punch. You can replace them with like all these moves, right? There's Ally Switch, where you can help support your team through like Suedo redirection with your Sash, and that's pretty decent. And you have like Trick Room. If someone tries to set Tailwind on you to become faster than your Meowscarada, you can like just surprise them with Trick Room, because like who's gonna expect Meowscarada to run like Trick Room on you? And there's also Fake Tears to help support the team. You can do stuff like that as well. I think another interesting option is Toxic Spikes, actually, because Toxic Spikes, since a lot of the meta is like really fast offensive Pokemon, you can use like Toxic Spikes to chip and just like suicide your Meowscarada. So you can just like Toxic Spikes, that'll actually get stuff into Flower Trick range, and you'll be able to actually get a KO with it. And then you can have like Sucker Punch here in the back too to clean stuff up after it gets Toxic Spikes down. Now, like suiciding for Toxic Spikes, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's kind of helpful. It is kind of helpful, especially when you're like just punishing opponents with a lot of priority moves. But yeah, here's really the concepts I want to go over with Meowscarada. Is like how you want to construct the team around it. Like noticeably, as we were talking about Meowscarada, this not being quite fast enough for this meta, weirdly enough. Meowscarada with base 123, and then you look at bundles at 136, you got Chien Pao, Flutter Mane. All these Pokemon are like very notable ways to this answer Meowscarada, to the point that you kind of want stuff that this has priority attacks that can actually like deal with it. There's also like Kilowattrel for that matter, even though that Kilowattrel is a Pokemon I expect to pop up a bit more later in Weavile, maybe, possibly. But yeah, there's so many Pokemon in this meta that are this like so good and this so much faster than it and so strong. And not to mention stuff like E-Speed Dragonite can also just take down Meowscarada with this one E-Speed once it gets this Sash through. And that leads to how I wanted to construct the team around it. And basically the concept was, okay, Meowscarada, it despises like Iron Bundle, it despises these Pokemon. So I thought this having like Mimikyu as a way to like hit the Flutter Mane with a priority move, having E-Speed to help you do that extra damage, having Helping Hand to make your Flower Tricks and Sucker Punch stronger so you have a better chance of this KOing it, having this bulky fighting type where you can change it to like Steel, do extra damage, having Corviknight to this get through Flutter Manes, and also set Tailwind so you finally will be fast enough. And this concept's like that, essentially. And the other version we had, I also put Talonflame here, Quick Guard, yet again, another Tailwind user. Stop the fake out, stop the annoyances that you have to go through. And this one with Bullet Punch that can also just KO the Flutter Mane and help Meowscarada actually operate in the sense that was. And with Skizor as well, you have the extra benefit of this being able to KO Chien Pao and do a lot of damage to like Iron Bundle as well. And yeah, that's the general idea of how I think Meowscarada should be played. Meowscarada, of course, it's a bit tough to use, but I think if you find it in the right team, it does have that option of this being a fast, strong grass type, thanks to like Flower Trick, thanks to Overgrow. And if you throw off one of the tech moves and get like enough value off of it, right? Your Toxic Spikes, your Ally Switch, your Trick Room. If you can get enough value out of these tech moves, then you can actually get like, hey, some surprising use case out of this Pokemon. And I think that's really the route you're gonna have to go for and look to get some mileage out of it. And yeah, I think that's like the general idea of how you want to play Meowscarada. And if you have any other Pokemon you want me to talk about even a little bit, just let me know in the comments and I will do so. I don't really know if I'll do the starters in order or not, or if I'll do which Pokemon. It's just whatever Pokemon I feel like talking about we'll end up doing. And we'll have some like battle videos and stuff on these concepts later as well. I do have a bunch of videos with battles pre-recorded that will be going out, and we are streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv at Atmosphere VGC, that you can check that out for more potential battle content as well that will later end up being on the YouTube. And yeah, that's all. Leave a comment, like, all that stuff. Thank you. Goodbye.